Liza Kaczynski voted against the repeal, saying the fire fee was the result of a lengthy process, a process that will be seen as a waste of time now since the fee won't be put to voters on the November special election ballot. Now, the fee was passed in February to close the city's $23 million budget gap and to fund Eugene-Springfield Fire Services, raising $10 million a year. But pushback from citizens and a petition backed by the Eugene Chamber of Commerce referred that fee to the ballot. In May, Council approved an 18% stormwater fee increase that would bring in $4.7 million a year and save some city services from cuts and closures like Amazon Pool, Sheldon Community Center, the library, and the city's contract with Green Hill Humane Society. There was a mix of opinions among councilors last night ahead of the vote.
I think it's really important to maintain good faith with the public. I know I voted for the replacement fee based on the initial fire services fee being withdrawn. I think it would be a really poor form to go forward with two separate fees.
Those people who signed a petition because they wanted to have something to say deserve the opportunity to say it. But at the same time, I think one of the reasons we came to a compromise as a group was because of the level of dissension and division that would be created in the community.
We're going to end up back in this same place in a couple of years because a stormwater fee increase, bake sales, whatever the other plans are to fill these gaps. This is one of the best strategies.
With a new budget cycle underway as of July 1st, the work session also focused on the city's long-term financial plans. This fall, the city of Eugene will put together a financial advisory committee to come up with recommendations for cost management and revenue options.
All right, thank you so much, Golden. Our team has been on your side covering the fire fee and funding concerns around the budget from the beginning. To view our previous coverage, scan that QR code on your screen right now, which will take you to our website. You can find that information and all of our other local news coverage.
And on the subject of fire resource funding, now if you live in Lane County, your November ballot did just get a new addition. The Lane County Fire Authority motioned for the board to vote on a new levy. District residents currently pay 35 cents for every $1,000 in assessed property value. The new levy would include a 20-cent increase, totaling to 55 cents per thousand. Chief Dale Borland says this change is needed.
I'm a taxpayer here. I live in the district. I pay the taxes. I do not want to ask for more money. But I think it is critical that we maintain and continue to try to expand our service to keep up with the call volumes. We have seen a 20% increase in call volume since we passed our current levy in 2021. So our demand for our service just continues to rise.
And Kennedy Wright was at today's meeting. She's joining us now in studio. Now, Kennedy, if the levy is passed in November, that will be extra money coming in. What will that money be used for?
The chief told me today he just wants to create more jobs. He plans to hire more firefighters at the Irving station, as well as financing a modular home so that volunteers that are interested in getting into fire service can have somewhere to stay.
Now, in this meeting, we talked about an increase in taxes. When would residents actually start to see that increase?
Residents actually won't see an increase until the next year. So next November is when that'll kick in.
Okay.
And how will the Lane Fire Authority get the help they need if it doesn't pass? What will happen?
So after going to the meeting today, Chief just told me if it doesn't pass in November, they have the ability for it to go onto the May ballot. So after some more financial planning, seeing what community people would like to pay as far as taxes, they can have another shot in May for it to be on the ballot.
All right, thank you very much, Kennedy. Good information. And fire concerns continue to be top of mind as the heat continues to be at the top of the 90 degrees. More 90s, if not hundreds, triple digits possible in the forecast. Tomorrow could still bring the hottest of those temperatures. Still, an incoming system could help to cool us off towards the end of the forecast with temperatures falling back towards the 80s into the weekend.
Warm temperatures, breezy conditions, and a heat advisory.
Yeah, today was kind of a weird day because Roseburg got cooler, Corvallis got warmer, and Eugene about the same what we saw yesterday. But the warmer temperatures are going to be here tomorrow. And let's talk about those heat advisories because they are in effect right now. In fact, the Willamette Valley will be under a heat advisory until 10 o'clock tomorrow evening. And for most of Douglas County and far eastern Coos County, that's going to be until tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock. We're expecting temperatures to be in the upper 90s, possibly hitting triple digits in the Umpqua Valley. We're currently at 90 degrees in Eugene with a north-northwest wind at 17. We have seen a few gusts around 20 miles per hour. Our humidity right now at 28%. Not a lot to show you with the radar satellite outside of a little bit of cloud cover lingering off the coast. You'll see they've seen some clouds moving in during the afternoon. Now, what we're looking at for tonight and into your day tomorrow, those overnight temperatures will be in the low to mid 60s. Those highs tomorrow along I-5 are going to be in the upper 90s. Could hit triple digits, but that cool down is going to be on the way just in time for your weekend. We'll talk about that with your full forecast in just a bit.
Thank you, Alan. And this comes as the fire danger level in Coos County has increased from moderate to high due to warm temperatures and high winds. Amber Cook with the Coos Forest Protective Association says the most important thing to be aware of is public use restrictions. Activities that are now prohibited include the use of fireworks and sky lanterns, as well as restrictions on mowing and using a power saw. Cook, who's been with the association for 9 years now, says the wildfire season this year is bordering on higher numbers than years prior.
For the Coos FPA district, fairly active. We're getting at least a call a day, which is pretty significant for us here on the coast. So we're starting to see that more active fire and more of those calls coming in. Please pay extra caution to those public use restrictions, especially if you're outside of city limits within the Coos FPA district. We are a very large district. We cover 1.5 million acres from the California border all the way up to just south of Dune City, north of Reedsport. So we cover that large district.
And one other restriction to be aware of is that camping is now only allowed at designated and managed campgrounds in the state.
Now, this comes as there is a growing fire emergency in central Oregon. The Cram Fire, which is northeast of Madras, has now burned more than 28,000 acres. There is no containment at this time. There are evacuations of every level, 1, 2, 3. They're all in effect for parts of eastern Jefferson County and southern Wasco County. Local authorities fear the fire will cross Highway 97. Governor Tina Kotek did invoke the Conflagration Act yesterday. That allows the Oregon State Fire Marshal to send its green incident management team as well as other task forces to the fire. That includes a task force from Lane County.
And with wildfire season here and evacuation orders around the state at the top of mind, we are asking the question, would you be ready to evacuate at a moment's notice? So far, 32 people saying yes, 37 saying no. Scan that QR code on your screen. That will take you to our website where you can take part in that anonymous poll. Flock cameras, deportations, and sanctuary law concerns sparked emotional testimonies at last night's Eugene City Council meeting. Dozens of residents filled council chambers, many demanding answers following reports of ICE agents detaining people at the ICE office in Eugene's federal building. KVAL's Tiffany Lewis is joining us live now from Eugene City Hall. Tiffany, what else is the City Council being asked to do in light of recent protests against ICE activity?
Well, good evening, Kendall. Several speakers criticized Eugene police for simply showing up at that July 1st protest outside of Eugene's ICE field office outside of the federal building and accused EPD of violating Oregon's sanctuary laws. Now, EPD told us last week that they did not work with ICE that day and only responded to the protest after immigration agents reported that protesters were blocking ICE vehicles. Despite their statement, nearly 50 people reported EPD to Oregon's Sanctuary Promise hotline, accusing the department of violating sanctuary laws, which ban any public agency from assisting immigration actions. An immigration lawyer I spoke to earlier this month confirmed that many of her clients are being detained during regular check-in appointments at the ICE office and are being denied access to their lawyers before they're deported. And speakers also criticized the lack of commentary from city leadership about these ongoing detainments and alleged lack of due process, and shared concerns about whether ICE agents will have access to flock camera data.
It is disappointing as a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state that we actually do not hear very much vocal support and action with our in solidarity with our targeted immigrant neighbors. If these flock cameras are accessible by ICE, we in fact are nullifying our commitment as a sanctuary city. We are betraying our immigrant neighbors, and we are violating the actual sanctions that we put in, the laws that we've placed to not comply with ICE.
On July 7th, EPD issued a new directive to its officers affirming that they are prohibited from assisting ICE. That includes transporting detainees and dispersing crowds for ICE. Any request for backup involving ICE must be assessed by a watch commander and, if needed, approved by a patrol captain. And officers can only intervene if there's an imminent safety threat, a riot, or serious criminal activity. While residents also demanded answers about flock safety cameras around town. The cameras were placed around the city that they record a vehicle's license plate number and other details like make, model, color. The company says the cameras are not designed to record footage of people or faces. Residents say the city failed to notify the public before they were installed. Several speakers argue that the program may violate the city's surveillance transparency ordinance, which requires a public process for any technology that collects personal information.
I did not begin my opposition to flock to pick a fight with EPD specifically. However, I keep seeing them making statements that are either inaccurate or dishonest about flock, its capabilities, and downplaying its risks.
This surveillance affects everyone, from lifelong residents to folks who come to visit, from neighbors going to the doctor to kids biking home from school. The use of this surveillance is against city code.
The camera system does remain active in Eugene and no formal review has been announced. Now, during concluding comment at the meeting last night, Councilor Jennifer Ye did confirm that the independent police auditor is now investigating those complaints about alleged violations of the sanctuary law and investigating complaints about the flock surveillance program. Other councilors just reaffirmed the city's commitment to our sanctuary policies without interfering with ICE actions. In Eugene, I'm Tiffany Lewis. Back to you guys.